Hello guys and welcome to the second video on the series in which we are talking about user interfaces in Unity. In this video we're going to see the anchors. So by default when we create a button in a canvas we see the anchors that add these small small white triangles are placed on the center of the canvas. Not the center of the button but the center of the canvas. So this makes that our button is always placed on that position. If the anchor is in the same position as the element, it will keep the element in that position even though we change the size of our canvas. And we can change the size of our canvas if it's set in screen space overlay and we go to the game window and we change this to free aspect, for example. Any change that we do here in this scene, in this screen size, we'll see that the canvas in the scene window is gonna change its size and form to imitate this one. So as I said, if the button is placed on the center of the canvas and the anchor as well, it will stay in the middle. It doesn't matter how we deform this, it will stay in the middle, but its size is not going to change for the moment. So how do we modify the anchors of an element inside a canvas? Well, if we select that element, for example, this button, we have this small button here. And these are the anchor presets. And we have a lot of configurations here. In fact, we have 9 basic configurations that we can use to change the anchor to the corners, as you see, of the parent or the side of the side. So if I put this anchor here on the top left corner, what is going to happen if we modified the size of the canvas? Well, what we're going to see is that the button is going to try to keep this distance always the same. The distance to the corner is going to be always the same, so it will move to try to do that, even though it goes out of the canvas. So what is logic here is that you place this button near the anchor. So let's say that you want this anchor to be on the corner of the screen. So if you do this, if you place it here and you set the anchor in the corner and you modify the screen size, you will see that the button stays in the corner. That's generally what you want to do. Now, if you select a button or any element that had anchors attached to a certain point of the canvas, and you see this position is relative to that anchor. So if I set this position to 0, we see that the button is placed exactly on the anchor. The anchor will be on the center of the element. So what if we want to place the button like here instead of in the center of the anchor? Do we do it like this? Well, there's an easy way to do this. If we select again this button of anchors and we press Shift as it says here, you see that there's a small blue dot in all the options. This means that the pivot is going to be set in that position as well. Well, not exactly in that position, but it's going to make that the corner of our element it's going to be the corner. I mean, it's going to be the anchor. Let's see what happens if I press this button. We have pressed button and we see that nothing changed, but the position has changed. So if we set the position in 0, we see that now it's perfectly placed on the corner. What have changed is that the pivot here has changed to 0 and 1, while it was before in 0.5, 0.5. This means that the reference that Unity takes to place this button is the center of the element. And if we change it to 1, 0, and 1, the reference is going to be the 0, which is the left of the element, and 1, which is the top of the element. So that's why now the button has the position 0, 0, and it's placed on the corner of the canvas. So that's how you use shift when placing the anchor. And of course, you can change the anchor manually if you click and drag, and you can change the pivot manually. So it says we can change the pivot using shift and also the position using alt. This is simple. Alt is just when you change the pivot, the anchor of an element. If you do it with alt, you will also move the element like this. So you don't have to replace it manually. And you can use shift and alt at the same time, so you are changing the pivot as well. So now let's see the rest of the options, which are stretch. We can stretch horizontally, vertically, or using all the canvas. So if we place the button in our center and we use stretch horizontally, like this one, you will see that the anchors move to the edges of the canvas. This means that if we go to game the game scene, what is going to happen is that the button is going to try to this distance between this side of the button and this edge is going to be the same, even though that it means it doesn't matter if that means to stretch the button. So it's going to have the same distance. And if we stretch vertically, we're going to have the same result if we modify the size. We can also stretch using all the canvas. So it modifies in all directions. Now, this may cause you problems because it's very weird the way that the anchors stretch and that thing. So I recommend you to always try to work in the fixed ratio, like this one or whatever you want to use. And sorry, and don't try to vary too much that ratio, unless of course you want to make a game for a lot of mobile phones or whatever. Then you have to worry a lot about anchors, and then you have to decide which anchors you have to use and if you want that a button stretches or not and that things. Anyways, the best thing to work with buttons is not using the button as it is, but using a panel or a grid, which we will see in the next videos. So if you like this video, please subscribe and press the like button. Thank you.